Welcome to another Tag Team Talent Podcast, the podcast that focuses on talent from around the world. And here's the guy that's produced live and television entertainment for the last 40 years, and he's going to be the host of the show, for goodness sakes. Here he is, Scott Edwards.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast, Tag Team Talent Podcast. We have 3 more amazing videos for you this week, and a very special co-host. Yes, she's back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Lynn Stobener.
Thank you.
Thanks for being a part of this, Lynn.
Thank you.
To catch everybody up, Lynn's like my little sister. She was been around most of her life.
I have been around most of my life.
And she was my very first employee. She was a hostess and went on to running my clubs, ended up emceeing, and then became a stand-up comedian herself.
Yes, I did.
And you're a talented musician. You kind of do it all.
Well, I try to.
Good. Well, we hope you enjoyed that. All right. Well, we do have tremendous videos this week. Our first one is a stand-up comic. You would not know him. He's from back east.
You don't know who I don't know.
Oh, we'll see. He is mostly a corporate entertainer. In fact, this was a recording from a corporate he did in recent months, and we appreciate it sharing with him. He did do an interview on my audio podcast, Stand Up Comedy. Your host and MC, if you want to check it out. But let's see our first video.
Looking
if you're
forward.
ready.
Yes, very much looking forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Schwem.
Oh, let's take stock here. You just saw a former cop turned comedian. Now you've got a former journalist turned comedian. Can they think of 2 more controversial professions to put on the same bill? The next guy coming out's a former congressman, just so you know. Oh, man. Hey, I am so excited to be in Provo. I have never been to Provo before, so it's always great to come to a new city because you don't really know what to expect. And I'm looking out and I see people from all different walks of life, different age ranges, which is great because I do a lot of shows for corporate clients, and sometimes everybody in the audience does the exact same thing for a living. Like, I did a show not too long ago, and everybody in the audience was a company human resources administrator. Yeah, you think your job's tough? Try doing stand-up comedy for a group who is paid to suck the fun out of everything. And then I did a show, and everybody in the audience was an engineer. I don't know, do we have any engineers or anybody who's majoring in engineering? Anybody with an engineering background right there? Okay, I'm not going to make fun of engineers, sir, because you got great senses of humor, but you're the most anal, literal people I have ever met in my entire life. It's true. Engineers, they never knew when I was telling a joke. This was in San Antonio. I'd been to the Alamo that day, which is really a cool tour, but it's really depressing because they get you in this room and they say, this is where it ended. The settlers were trapped. They had nothing, no food, no water, zip. And I said to the audience, I said, you know what? If they had just looked out the window, there's a Pizza Hut right across the street. I'm not kidding. I must have had 10 engineers come up to me at the show. Well, you know, Greg, the Pizza Hut wasn't there back in the 18th century. Had they done a soil study with the price of raw materials? I'm like, okay, save that for tomorrow's Zoom call, professor. And the weird thing is when you hang out with people who do the exact same thing for a living, you start talking like them. Like I was in Vegas before everything shut down, and I did a show for a bunch of jewelers. Everybody owned a jewelry store. And by the end of the night, I was talking like a jeweler. I came back from dinner. Somebody recognized me. They said, hey, Greg, how was dinner? I said it was timeless. My cheeseburger was prepared with exquisite craftsmanship. And here's the thing, they always want me to make fun of the competition when I'm on stage, but they never tell me who the competitors are. I have to find that out. So I'm doing a show not long ago, and it's for the Wall Covering Association. Everybody in the audience sold wallpaper and wall hangings and things like that. So I said, hey, who's your biggest competitor? Paint. Really? That's what some guy yelled. Like, how would you like to have that job? How was your day at work, honey? Well, it was going great. I was about to close this big deal till paint came in and ruined the whole thing. Hey, it is so great to be doing live comedy again. I can't believe I am saying that. You know, that's the thing about this pandemic. We start bragging about things that we were just so routine before it all hit, right? It's like, hey, Greg, what'd you do last weekend? Went outside? No way. What'd you do? Put on pants? Shut up.
Gentlemen, that was Greg Schwem live on stage. And you could tell this was from right after the pandemic, so a couple of years old. But you could see he's presents himself in a corporate way with a jacket, and he talks about corporate gigs. What'd you think?
I thought it was funny.
He had some funny material, didn't he? And it's something that everybody can relate to, but also, especially in the corporate world, when you're talking about competitors and HR people, I mean, not the best audience.
No. You'd be afraid you'd get written up.
What was the worst audience you performed in front of?
Well, actually, it was kind of a similar gig where it was supposed to be some women's luncheon, and they said don't do any women jokes or don't do any of this, that. I mean, they gave me like some parameters. It's like, okay. And then I got there, and all the audience wanted those kind of jokes. And
of course,
right. So I didn't write anything because I write specifically for the gig.
Yes, but you're a comedian. Obviously, your material is going to be kind of women based.
Well, yeah.
It was weird they tried to put those restrictions on you. Well, as anybody that's been in stand-up comedy knows, you have to read the room, and you were able to do it, and Greg was able to do it, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now I have something a little bit different, some comedy music.
Ooh.
Now, you play guitar, you've done some music. Have you ever put music into your comedy show?
No, but I did do a comedic Christmas song that,
Made the charts?
Oh, yeah, it did. It made the charts. It made the pie chart and back.
Well, let's jump into it. This next comic is a regular on this podcast. He has also been on my audio podcast, stand-up comedy host and MC. Why? Because he's one of the best in the business. He toured with George Carlin for over 15 years. He also worked a lot with Rodney Dangerfield. I actually helped write the movie Easy Money. But not only a terrific stand-up comic, but a comic musician. So if you're ready...
I am. I'm trying to think who it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dennis Blair. Oh. And he's a very funny guy. I know you enjoy him. Let's watch him now. Dennis Blair.
Love those guys. Unbelievable. Then you moved to the 80s. You had disco. Yeah. All right, 7 people like disco. I'm getting better as I go along with reading the audience. 3, 4, 7. We're going to have all of you by the end of the show. Right, disco? Barry White? Yes, one of the great lyric writers of all time. Barry White wrote this lyric all by himself. He had no help. Baby. Like, how'd you write that, Barry? I woke up one morning and I went, ugh. And I said, shit, that's a song. Same thing with Donna Summer. Donna Summer. Unbelievable talent. Pass the chiropractic.
I guess that's it.
This is the stupidest show you will ever see, folks. I don't think I'm not aware of it. But the 80s also had some great pop groups, like Tears for Fears, The Police, Men at Work. One of my all-time favorites, Men at Work. Who can it be knocking at my door? Oh shit, it's a Jehovah's Witness.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Blair live on stage sharing just a little bit of his comedy. What did you think?
I thought it was very funny.
So he's funny and a musician. You're a comic and a musician. I'm sure you can relate.
I can.
We hope you enjoyed it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, so we had some stand-up comedy with Greg Schwem. We just had a little bit of comedy music with Dennis Blair. There's more of him coming in other shows. But it's time for the classic rewind.
Ooh.
And on this one, we're going back to a very dear friend of ours. Actually, he's a comic and a juggler and a magician. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our house favorites, Ken Garr, was one of the guys that was just a regular part of the family at Laughs Unlimited for many years. And you're going to see why right here. But a great guy, and he's still out performing. He does a special Renaissance Fair show every year in the Bay Area. And
does he wear tights?
I don't think so. But let's see why he wouldn't wear tights. Ladies and gentlemen, our classic rewind, Ken Garr.
For juggling now, we're all excited. Okay, well, that was it. Okay, here we go. One hand and one ball. This is how you start. And that's pretty difficult. Okay. And then there's one hand and two balls. And most of us guys can relate to this. Now the difficult part here is to work that third ball into the pattern. Here we go.
Juggling at its best.
Now, of course, the next hard part is to pick up the ball. Okay, the next part is, of course, two hands and three balls. Now let's review what we've learned so far. There's one hand and one ball. There's one hand and two balls. There's two hand and three balls. But the most difficult of all, of course, is the three-hand, two-ball juggle.
Hey, good job, kid.
Okay, it's time for San Francisco juggling. Here we go. Okay, who's seen this trick before? Yeah, fuck you. Okay, here we go. I thought I'd throw a traditional trick in. This is a trick that's been done for thousands of years. Here we go. It's the amazing linking rings. They've been made out of gold. They're coated with aluminum to protect the gold underneath. There you go. There you go. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, 5, and 6. Now that we know I can count, we'll do the trick. Now the trick is very, very simple. All you have to do is get the rings to link into each other. Here we go. Ooh, cut it out. Don't overdo it. Here we go.
Like smoke.
You can also do all kinds of neat tricks. I don't know any. Cut it out.
Ah.
That's what he sounded like last night. Take the mic away from him. Here's what I've been playing with here. You can also make all kinds of team designs with them, but I don't feel like it. The hell with it. Why don't you... The next design is kind of difficult. There we go. Because it's a bitch. I'll get it, don't worry. There we go, chain of 6. And all in one. Thank you very much. You guys have been great. Thank you.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ken Garr doing a little juggling back in the 80s.
I still don't know how that trick's done.
Well, what's great is that everybody has a different take. A lot of magicians do the linking rings, but he makes it funny. And yet it's still magical that they come apart like smoke and stuff. It's pretty incredible. But you got a chance to work a lot with Ken. Who else have you worked with in comedy?
Yeah.
Oh, that
Well,
many.
you know, I had, let's see, Ellen closed for me.
Whoa. Ellen DeGeneres?
No, Ellen White from
Oh.
down the street. Yes, Ellen DeGeneres.
Closed for you.
Yes. I mean, it. You know, everybody talks about, you know, opening for, you know,
Ellen.
You know, she opened for me, but I let these people close for me because, you know, they need some help.
You're a giver.
I am a giver, and you know, so they needed a step into it, and so I let them close for me.
Well, that was quite big-hearted of you.
Someday you can close for me. And you too.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our 3 videos. We had Greg Schwem, we had the comedy music of Dennis Blair, and a little bit of juggling with Ken Garr. And the most important part of the show, my lovely co-host, Lynn Stobener.
Oh, I thank you, Scott Edwards.
And it was great to have you with us this week on the show. We'll be back next week with 3 more great videos and a different co-host. But I want to thank Lynn for being here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to tell a friend, and we'll say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
Thanks for watching the Tag Team Talent Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss the next big talent reveal. And don't forget to write in the comments below which performer you thought was best in this episode. We love hearing from you. See you soon!